here. We'll bring Coach Dvorak out.
Coach
Three
White.
or four players.
Hey.
How's your voice?
Oh, this is way better. Way better. Somebody gave me some lemon tea and some echinacea. I don't know what that is, but it worked. It worked.
Question.
Hey, Coach. Coach Roll made an interesting comment of like, you guys are never in the same front. It's never quite the same look. When you kind of put together your defense and you're trying to put together all the pieces of it, how much does creativity come into play, and how much do you get to just kind of be fun with the things that you do?
Well, first, I think the biggest thing is putting the guys in position to be successful. Every play on defense is designed to do something. You know what I mean? And so you're saying to yourself, they're in two categories. You're trying to stop what the offense is doing to you, so you're calling defense that way, or there's a certain emphasis where you go back through the week, like yesterday we got a chance to self-scout, and then you're going back through and saying, what do we do wrong? What do we need to work on? So then now in practice, you're making an emphasis to just call that, regardless of situation. You're just saying, hey, I want to work on this. Let's get the organics of this, And so those are the two things that go on in our head is, one, making sure that they get used to seeing the pictures, but then two, making sure we're working on things we're not necessarily good at right now, so that way we can fix them.
What are you not good at right now?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Minnesota's watching, so I don't know.
How have you seen this defensive staff mesh together?
Oh, well, I mean, it's being around those guys. It's a great. Like I said this earlier. It's a one. You got the knowledge aspect, right? You got some guys who have played at the highest level, coached at the highest level, coached some of the most elite players on the planet. From Coach Rule down. And so it's really neat to be in the room and then listen to all the ideas and then come together and make this our defense, And that's the thing I can't stress the most is that it is our defense. And there's some great stuff that T-Knight has up front. Rob's been awesome in terms of figuring out issues and trying to see those pictures ahead of time. And then, like I said, Coop with coverage stuff and his background in coverage, it's been fun to work with and mesh. And then they keep things light. They're energetic. They're into the now. They're telling me, they're showing me pictures of shoes and stuff. I have no idea what they are. Oh, these are these. I was like, I have no idea. You know what I mean? So it's neat to be with them, with those guys.
Matt Rule said he knew Coach Rob right away when he was a player, and then he became a coach immediately, that he had an knack for it. What do you see out of him as just a young coach?
He's very attentive to detail. Very attentive to detail. And he gets the big picture. A lot of times position coaches, they focus in on their position and they don't understand how it affects all the other in terms of the totality of the defense, right? But he's a very big picture guy, and so he's very keen on seeing something and seeing what reactions would happen. Hey, if we do this to this, aren't we going to get this? And how do we fix this part? So he, like I said, he's been awesome in terms of being able to bounce ideas off of.
Coach, the little scrimmaging that you did last week on Saturday, can you just talk about what you liked, what you didn't like, what you saw?
Well, like with anything in fall camp, I like the fact that the young men are starting to take on the identity of what we want to do, right? That's the most important thing. We want to play with Husker speed and we want to have dominant contact, and you see elements of it showing up on all three levels, from the D-line to the linebackers to the secondary guys. Things we need to improve on, I mean, every coach is going to come and harp on takeaways. I always want more takeaways. You can never be too physical in that regard, without being stupid and doing stupid stuff. But just a continuation of the process, as we continue to install defenses, that getting closer to 831, but also making sure that, again, the identity is the most important part of this.
How do you see Quentin Newsom growing from spring to training camp, and how's he getting better as a corner?
Yeah, he's starting to move faster. I think the last couple of practices have been some of his better ones in terms of physicality, right? I mean, with the DBs, when you talk coverage, they light up, and when you talk run game, they kind of say, oh, you're talking to somebody else. But it's you turn the page when you start talking about the run game, and now DBs are taking pride in coming up and filling those alleys and having some physicality with the ball carriers. So he's had the last couple of days have been his most physical practices. So it's fun to watch him just fly around. And then when you truly start to master him and really absorb the defense and stuff, now you start to communicate ahead of time. You start to see things that Coop is teaching in terms of splits and formations and motions, and then he's seeing it and he's calling out ahead of time. So again, part of the process, but he's starting to get to that point where he's playing fast.
How much of an advantage is it to have a corner like that who's been starting for multiple years? There's probably still things he can learn, right,
Yep,
on the
yep.
way to the NFL.
Yep.
But simultaneously, it's not going to be new for him to go out and cover somebody for a whole year.
Yeah, I mean that's with any veteran. You know, I mean that's Nash and Ty up front. That's Luke and Nick and the linebacker, and then, you know, Q and Malcolm and those guys in the back end. Anytime you got veteran leadership, they make it's their team. I mean, it's their defense, right? And when they are the ones who are taking ownership and they're the ones pushing the guys, and when you hear the echoes of Husker speed and dominant contact, and hey, this is our standard, you know, it's usually those guys speaking. So it's really good for a defensive coordinator.
Hey, Tony, one of the beauties of your scheme seems to be that the pressure can come from anywhere.
Mhm.
Like the opponent doesn't necessarily know. That said, like that defensive end spot you have up front, how important is it for you to have like traditional pass rusher who can get around and tackle and do it from that spot? And how do you feel about the guys who play that position?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things we're getting work on. Having those guys work with Coach Rob and T. Knight, you know what I mean, and his expertise in pass rush, and then having the ability to, like in certain situations, just go 4-down rush and then let them get work. You know what I mean? Again, biggest thing here is practice is everything, right? So if we never practice it, if we never practice 4-man rush and letting the guys go and then being able to correct it off the film, then what are we doing, right? So having those guys actually hear from both coaches, front coach and linebackers coach, and then apply it to the grass and say, hey, let me see you do this. Let me see you do this. Let's call this game. Let's do this. I think it's really showing and stuff that where we can see it on grass and then get it corrected. So that way, come game day, they can play as fast as they can. Yeah.
Do you think that, just in general, and from your experience and the various years, that the defense starts with an advantage over the offense when you get to week one? Does the offense need more time to find rhythm, just generally in college football?
I think that's the traditional saying, you know, that the offense, as the season progresses, their timing and all that stuff. So usually early on, you get to early games is tackling and special teams, right? No mistakes, you know, just no blown coverages, no big plays, poor tackling, you know, mistakes on the special teams. So hence why the emphasis on dominant contact and always tackling some form or fashion. And then again, Coach Rule and the philosophy of always being physical and practicing fast, but always having the physicality aspect to it, that helps tremendously.
Are you comfortable where your defense is right now at this point?
I believe that we are still growing. We're going to take this last time remaining and make sure that we know what we're doing. You know, again, it goes back to being able to self-scout and then say what you're doing wrong and seeing if it's a big piece that we're going to do and we need to correct, or is it something, hey, it's too expensive, we're going to throw it out. You know what I mean? And so that's where we're getting to. We got plenty of film of what we're running, so now we're going back through and seeing what can we do really fast and really physical, what can we add, what can we take out, so that way the guys can just go out there and play right now.
Eric Fields has been a player that's apparently moved a rover. What have you seen from him in the short time he's been here?
Yeah, that dude is fast. I mean, Coach Coop has a really good eye for talent, and he called it out from the get-go. That guy is like, hey, point A to point B, I'm gone. And he is a physical as can be. So he's growing. He's learning what we're doing. And when he gets a chance to just, you know, not think and just go, hey, where's the football? I'm gone. You can see why he's here right now. Very explosive, very physical. He's going to be a good one in the future.
Does he see time with the top units right now?
They're all rotating through. So sometimes you look up and he'll be with the twos. Sometimes, you know, I don't know if he's been with the ones, but he'll be with the twos, the threes, you know, the freshmen. So he'll rotate through there.
Physically, with his frame, is he ready right now, or like the whole freshman, he just needs to?
No, I mean I think he's 195-ish, right in there, 200 pounds, somewhere right in there. So he's physical. It don't matter how much he weighs. He hits like he's 230, 240. I mean that's the kind of explosion he has in him. You know what I mean? So now it's a matter of, can he line up? Can he know what to do? And then get him to the point where he just, hey, there's the ball, I'm gone. You know. So.
What have you seen Cam and difference or what have you seen from their development since they got here in the spring?
Same thing, the continued growth. I think the physicality you see, and that comes from Corey down in the weight room and Kristen getting them bigger and stronger and stuff like that. They're continuing to grow just like the other guys. Kai Wallen has had some great practices. I'm trying to think of some of those other young guys who are starting to come on. Javen Wright Buddha, he's starting to show up some as well. There's some guys who are starting to hit the point where they're known and given the chance, they're playing fast. Yeah.
Tony, sometimes a couple weeks in a fall camp, the rigors start to hit in. Do you feel like your team still has good energy and enthusiasm?
They do. I mean, they're running around doing the things we're asking for. Obviously when you they had a fun day yesterday, so coming back off of it, you got to get them back to, hey, we're going physical and we're doing that kind of stuff. But they're doing everything that's asked of us. So we got to be better as coaches, making sure that installs are right. When they get out to pre-practice, their mind is right. They know what's coming. So it's always, if something's wrong with that in that regard, then it's our fault as coaches.
I know you probably got it. Can you just elaborate on,
Yeah.
sorry, on Knighton
No,
and
no.
what he's done to bring out the best in his room?
T9?
Yep.
Well, he's very close to those guys. Number one, he's always keeping it light. He teaches in a way where they understand it, but he's always doing things like, in the off season they went out to eat a lot of group bonding stuff, and then I can hear in the meetings whenever somebody told a joke or got up to sing or did something because they're all busting out laughing and everything. He's a guy who connects well with the players. So I think that's most important, right, is that relationship. So that way when we get to the grass, he can coach them hard, and they understand that, hey, he cares about me, and that's the great thing about T9.
You talked about you guys being able to come together and mesh as defensive coaches and make your guys' defense.
Yeah.
How does that make it better? How does that make your guys' defense better, just being able to have all that information?
Well, it's like anything. It just starts with the relationships. It's one thing if a stranger's talking to you. It's another thing if it's your friend talking to you. And you're open and more receptive to information. I think that's the biggest thing. When somebody speaks, if you don't care about that person, usually it's in one ear out the other. But if you truly care about somebody, then you absorb the information that they're saying. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you're going to absorb it, and then you're going to use it to your advantage, right? So that's the thing with the guys in the room. We got our senior analyst who's been a head coach for 11 years. He's 60 years old plus, and we got Rob who's in his 20s, 30 for 30, all that kind of stuff like that. So we got the range in there, and we got the experience in there. So it's a matter of making sure that we're doing the things that we need to do here in Nebraska to put these guys in position to go make plays. Because sometimes you get too much information, too many things, and then you're scrambling their mind. It's like, hey, let's cut it down, which that's the point we're at right now, is cutting it down, making sure our guys can absorb everything we're doing and letting them go play.
I know you have a billion other things on your mind, but the black shirts, is one of those topics around here. Do you have an idea how you want to handle that?
Yeah, I got an idea. Yeah. No. I've talked to some great voices. I talked to Coach McBride, talked to Carragher, talked to, Bullocks. I talked to, you name it. If they said they wore the black shirt, the first question I asked, hey, come on over here, step into my office real fast. Let me tell me, educate me on how this was. And I have an idea, but I'm going to make sure I talk to Coach Rule, and then we'll do it as we do it. Yeah. Thank you.